All right, this is the beginning of a new era in trade between Canada and the U.S. as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and U.S. President Donald Trump have finally struck a deal to lift the tariffs on metal. And 130 years in the making, a First Nations chief is being exonerated for his wrongful conviction. For all this and more, we are joined by the Globe and Mail's Laura Stone. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
All right, let's start with tariffs. So last year, we know the U.S. imposed 25% tariff on steel, 10% on aluminum, constricting trade with our neighbors to the south. So the tariffs have been lifted. What does this mean for our Canadian economy? And more importantly, what does this mean for Justin Trudeau right now? A big win for him.
This is a big win for the Liberals. This is a big relief because a lot of Liberals behind the scenes were thinking that these tariffs were not going to be lifted before the next federal election. And to their surprise, this all came together last week. Canada officially lifted our tariffs yesterday, but this does still need to be ratified in Parliament. And the Liberal government has suggested they obviously want this to go through before the end of the session, which is in June. The NDP and Conservatives might have some opposition to this. You know, the NDP has said that the House Democrats, for instance, may have some concerns about the deal in terms of labor and environmental rights. So there might be some changes that are to be made there. You know, U.S. Congress has to ratify it as well. But at the end of the day, it does seem that President Trump has turned his sights to China now, and Canada is no longer enemy number one.
All right. Let's take a look at another story happening in our country. 130 years after a wrongful conviction, the conviction was treason. Chief Poundmaker is now being exonerated by the Prime Minister. What effect will this have on the relationship between the Prime Minister's office and our First Nations communities?
Well, there has been some friction between Justin Trudeau and First Nations communities, you know, especially over the treatment of Canada's first Indigenous Justice Minister, for instance, Jody Wilson-Raybould, who quit, and Jane Philpott, who used to fill the role of Indigenous Services Minister. There is a reason Justin Trudeau is traveling to Saskatchewan this week to exonerate the chief who was wrongly accused of treason back in 1885. This is very important for the community, though.
They've been asking for decades.
They have, and they say this is an important step. This is not about Justin Trudeau. They say this is about their community and their legacy, and it's an important step towards reconciliation. We know there will be some sort of potential, financial measure that is taken. We don't know yet what that will be, but the fact that Trudeau is traveling out there to exonerate Chief Poundmaker and offer an apology is a big deal to these communities.
All right, we have a federal election coming less than 6 months away now. Hard to believe. Set this one up for us. What are the main issues that are starting to come to the fore?
Well, both the Conservatives and the Liberals want to make this about the economy, which is actually kind of surprising for the Liberals because we thought they were going to make this about the environment. And we know they're engaged in a major battle right now with provinces over the carbon tax, but there were some leaked talking points that showed the economy is still number one. And you could say that those two are linked, of course. The Conservatives as well want to make this about the economy and the environment in terms of pipeline construction. And Andrew Scheer gave a major speech about that last week.
He wants a pipeline coast to coast.
He wants a pipeline corridor coast to coast. But we're also seeing some wedge issues emerge. And if you look on Twitter, for instance, or from talking points of what the Liberals are saying, they're trying to make this as well about abortion. And they've gone after Andrew Scheer and the Conservatives on this issue because a dozen Conservatives have attended pro-life rallies saying that they will want to reopen this issue. Andrew Scheer has said absolutely not. He's called this a desperation tactic. But you're seeing some of those narratives emerge. So social issues does seem to be one that at least the Liberals want to talk about leading into the next election.
And that's important to note because in the last federal election, those are the issues that really hurt the Conservatives. Comments like, a snitch line or old stock really hurt them when it came down to voting day.
Right. And so these issues of immigration, diversity, Trudeau was here in Toronto speaking at a tech conference last night, and he brought up these issues, just out of the blue. So we know that these are things that the Liberals are going to want to continually come back to, and the Conservatives are trying to put that behind them and move forward, certainly talking about the economy.
This is a time the temperature gets turned up. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Laura.
Thank you.